Hey guys, what's up? What is up? What is up? What is up? Somebody get me a 5 for 5 and we'll do the thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, guys, sorry I didn't do one yesterday. Just so much stuff going on. I'm not going to go into details or anything, guys. Just got a lot of stuff happening. I feel like I come here and say things in my life that are going on, and I don't want you guys to think that that's anything like that. Everybody has life, right? Mine is no different than anybody else's, and I don't want to, put it out there like that. With that being said, I did have my daughter to the doctor today, myself, and everything else. There's just a lot of stuff going on. My shower busted. You guys know all that stuff. So that's the reason I didn't do a live stream yesterday, and that's also why I'm here so late today. Please, if you haven't, go check out Mark's live stream. Marfugel TV. He's actually, his outro is still going right now. It was a really good show. I listened to the majority of it. I wasn't able to actually be in the chat until like the last 15 minutes. And also, guys, let me just read this off real quick. I want to just go through the names that won the cards real quick. If you haven't emailed me yet, cul-de-sac. I'm pretty sure you emailed me. See here, think. Please email me. Playing Dirty 3677. Please email me. Those all came from the members only stream. And then Deep Quake Paul, I know I got it. I seen your email. Mary Miles, I believe I seen yours also. If not, please send me an email. Carnivore. I'm not sure what the name means, but yeah. Please send me an email. You want deck cards. And Susan Keefen. I think I did get some emails from quite a few of those names I just said. I just haven't had a chance to go in there, dig in there, and find them. I just need to know where to send them, guys. It's really simply that simple. I just want to be able to send them out to you. Thank you guys for the continued support. Like, you guys are always here for me. What's up, Billy Jack's Wild America? I like that. I like that name. But yeah, guys. So what are we doing here today? Well, we've had some more eruptions. Nothing to be scared about. But we are looking at an uptick in solar activity, and I do want to point that out. Okay. Also, Leisure. You're now and so is Trish, I believe. I think I put Trish and Leisure, and who else did I add to that? I know Jammer is, and Hilly is, and obviously Ilea, Trinity, and Rip. You guys are, I think the official title is like managing moderators. What that does is it gives you guys the abilities to turn on slow-mo if it's ever needed. We haven't ever needed it here, except for maybe one time. I hope to get to where we have to need it every stream. That's the goal, right? So we'll just leave that at that. But yeah, so I would like to ask for prayers also for me and whatever's going on with me. I'm not gonna go into detail, but I'm not beyond asking for prayers. I don't have that kind of ego. Hey, Carrington 2024, good to see you. Yeah, the flare makers are back. 100% they're back. This one up here, guys, this satellite is, from our point of view, it's SDO. And you see this emerging little bright spot over here? We'll go ahead and just play that. That was back on the 23rd. So let's just play this. Watch what the sun starts doing everywhere. It really does. It starts erupting everywhere again. And this is not unexpected. Just let me say that first and foremost. This is something we would completely expect as we go to the uptick of solar maximum. Okay? This is not unexpected. This is something we 100% expect to see. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that. Okay? Hey, Trish. Yeah, you're a managing moderator too, by the way. You guys see her orange Kool-Aid face? That means she's been a member for 2 months, and she's into her 3rd month already. If you guys want to become a member, it's really easy. Just go down there and hit that. Matter of fact, I think there's actually a link in my description you can use. Also, some of the members, they're on my homepage. When you go to my page, there's a section right at the top, and it rotates the members that are there. So you guys get kind of recognized for that, and it's much appreciated. Deep Quick Paul, he gifted 40 memberships the last live stream. It's just amazing. That kind of generosity has always just floored me. And he's not the only one that's done stuff like that. So anybody who's ever done stuff like that, thank you. Okay, so as we get this going on here, you can see that the sun is definitely just starting to act up again. And let me just say this, it never stopped. It was blowing big ones off the back the whole time. Okay? And it didn't stop. We just didn't have any facing us that was directly coming at us. We had a couple glancing blows. We did get into storm levels when we didn't think we were going to, and stuff like that. And something also interesting that's happened, they're now, obviously, the solar storm we had back a couple weeks ago with the G5 solar storm, that's going to be very, very highly studied for a lot of reasons, okay? And first and foremost, it is the biggest storm we had in forever, number one. Number two, we do have better technology to be able to see more accurately what was going on during that and the effects that we did have. Number three, and I am falling on the side, and this is just my opinion, I really don't think we should have seen the effects that we've seen from such a flare of that size. The flare we got was the biggest flare we got was an X3 point something. And don't get me wrong, I do think that we should have got to a G5, but I don't think that the effects that we see from that G5, I don't necessarily think we should have seen those kind of intense things, at least at that level. Especially the Aurora. That really, I've been saying that for years. Aurora is really one of the key thing we can look at, that we don't have to really use a whole lot of technology to say, hey, why is the sky red on the equator in the middle of the night? Something's going on, right? So with that being said, and then they come out to yesterday or today. I seen an article over on spaceweather.com talking about the ground was electrified, charged. We've been talking about this, guys, on this channel for almost 2 years now. So let me show you that first and foremost, because this really gets into my crawl pretty bad, as a matter of fact. This model right here. I've been showing you guys this model for how long now? You can go back on my channel and look. When I first started showing you guys this, it was so early on in the development of this model, Canada was not on here. And this whole section of the United States was blue, blacked out, because they hadn't developed the model all the way yet. So we've been talking about this for a long time. Why? Because we know the space weather has an effect on seismic activity. This is the geoelectric field at the surface. So when we're looking at that, this is a newer model, right? But to say that this model hasn't been here, that's not the truth. This especially the lower 48. It's been here for quite some time now. I've been showing it to you guys for like 2 years, if not longer. I need to go back and see when this thing was even first put out. But with that being said, and they added Canada up here about a year ago. So I don't know why people are thinking that this is a brand new thing. It's not. This has been here. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. So with that being said, and again, I've been talking to you guys about this because it affects seismic activity. That's why USGS and NOAA are working together here now, along with the Natural Resources of Canada. Okay? So all three of those agencies are working together to try to figure out exactly how geomagnetism affects our geoelectric, which in turn affects how much seismic activity we see. So that's what I'm saying. It's really kind of, and I know I'm a little grouchy tonight. I'm just going to be honest with you. I really am. I've seen a couple things throughout the internet here the past couple days. I've gotten some emails too that are asking, from you guys. I'm not mad at that or grumpy at that. It's just questions that these questions keep coming up and they keep pointing back to the same people talking about the stuff. And I've already explained 1,000 times, and it's not you guys. I want you guys to always email me that stuff. That's not what I'm grouchy about. I'm grouchy about because some of these people know they shouldn't be saying what they're saying. And it bugs me. It bugs me bad. And we'll get into that in a minute. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because we don't do drama here. I'll talk about the topic, but I will not say who's been talking about this, what I'll tell you a little bit later on. But as we're looking at this, the G5 storm that hit, right? Let me just do this first, because Dr. Tony Phillips did an article over here, and it's an awesome read, right? He does a great job over here. And this is what I used to show you guys. This is all we used to get. The lower 48, right? But they've actually added Canada to this now, and I'm glad that they did. But what they have done is they're comparing the 1989 Canadian grid down event that we had from a solar storm to what we just had. And what they're doing is they're looking at the electrified soil. And they measure that by volts, I think, is it kilometers, I think? Let me look. Let's see here. Shown above. Okay. Is it down here? Yeah, 10, let's see. Yeah, they do it by volts per kilometer. All right. Now we have just a background, like what I would call ambience or vibrational electrical charge. It's always there. It's like 0.01 or something like that. I think he actually put that in here. Let's see. Yeah, right there. 0.01. Okay, volts per kilometer. You're not going to notice that. You're going to have a meter to see that. You're going to have to be using the right kind of equipment to be able to pick it up. But let me just say this. Okay? This is a picture of the Earth during the night side, during that outage. Well, actually, I'll just click on it. We've all seen these probably. Most of us have. Right? I believe, is that New York? No, New York would be over here. It up in here, right? We got the big Canadian blackout. So anyway, that's what that looked like. But what they're doing, they're comparing what the voltage readings were from what caused that grid part to go down and what level it was at. It was at 22 volts per kilometer, right? What did we get this last time? That's the next question we need to ask, right? And he put it in here, and it was a little over 10, I think. Yeah, 10 to 11 volts per kilometer. Guys, the 1989 event that caused that to go down was from an X45 flare. So therein lies the question. Why did we see almost half of the power from an X3 flare? I'm not quite understanding that yet. I'm still trying to figure out my own opinion on that. I'm just showing you what the information is. Okay? You guys make your own decisions. I'm just telling you what the actual data is. That's what this is. This is data. This isn't anybody's opinion. This is what we've seen with our detection. Right? Now, granted, we're looking harder at this electrified soil, I guess is what they're calling it here. But we've been able to measure that for a while, but obviously we get better as time goes on and more people are paying attention to it now. So there's more attention on it, more eyes are looking at it, thus there's more readings being collected. All that can be added into that to say, hey, well, maybe we didn't have the right exact average from up there. Who knows, right? With that being said, though, even if you take it for what it says it is, it's still, that's about half the strength as far as volts. of how much our ground got electrified during that event. I just don't, I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around why it is now, we're seeing we got really close to seeing some really bad things happen this last time. Okay? When you start seeing Aurora down towards the equator, and I don't care what, we should not see those kinds of effects at our equator or close to our equatorial regions with those kinds of levels of storming that we got hit with. Okay? Now, when I say that, what I'm saying is it's to see a random report from here or over here or over here. That's one thing. Okay? That right there, I believe. Okay? I believe it all anyway, but I believe that that's pretty normal. Let me tell you why. Because cracks open up, right, in our magnetic field. They can open up anywhere. We've seen stuff like that happen. But when we see red aurora across the globe at a certain latitude line that's closer to the equator than what we should think we should be seeing these red aurora at, that's when it draws my attention. Okay? And that's what we've seen. We've seen them in, we started seeing, well, Dr. Tony Phillips actually did an article on this from Africa, seeing the reports in Africa. We had the reports in New Caledonia. In other words, we're seeing them too close to the equator. We shouldn't really be seeing that with that kind of a storm level across the globe like that. That's not a crack opening up. That's more of a overall hit. Okay, I'm not saying that the Aurora oval stretched all the way down there, because I don't think that that's what happened. I just think it stressed it enough that there was lots of cracks. And there's a better way to explain that. I'm not going to get into detail. This takes way too long. But always look to Aurora. It's a really good indication of the health of our protection, number one. Okay? It's also a good indication of how strong a geomagnetic storm is. So when you watch the forecasting of Aurora, please pay attention to that. Okay? Because it's a really good indicator, and I show it to you guys almost every time. And what I'm talking about is this Aurora oval model. That's really all you got to look at. They're going to forecast this out, and they're going to give you data from like a day behind, right? So, obviously there's a dark side. We'll run the model here. Let's just see what it looks like. I haven't even looked at it because there is really no big time aurora happening right now because we're not getting hit. So you can see what this thing does. And I think most of you guys have probably already seen this. But with that being said, typical aurora during a G3 really isn't, the chances of seeing it down like this low is probably the level of that, right? A G5, like we just seen, probably down here, northern, maybe mid Texas, maybe some reports from Florida once in a, those kinds of things. But to see them further south, that was something to behold, okay? And when I say this, I didn't really hold a whole lot of stock into it until I seen the report that they were seeing these red aurora with their naked eye. Okay, that's what made me stop. Hey, Miss Dragon, good to see you. Glad you're here. Hey, Jeremy. So when somebody says they seen him with their naked eye, and it wasn't just one person, it was a lot of reports came in like that. That means they're not using their phone, guys. Yes, they probably grabbed their phone after they seen it and snapped some pictures. But most people that do that aren't expecting to see that, don't even know that you see aurora better with your phone. So what I'm saying is, most likely that is not somebody just trying to get attention. That's a real thing. Somebody's seen these aurora really far south with their naked eye. So that right there takes the whole phone thing out of the picture as far as why we've seen these aurora. And it wasn't just one report. It was a bunch. So, again, with that being said, we have to also consider, yes, we got communications better now. Now that they looked up and seen it with their eyeballs, they can now report it a lot easier. That goes towards the other side of the argument, right? Well, there's more people out there now, so we'll get more reports of it. That's absolutely true. Right? So, with that being said, then you got to start talking about light pollution. We have a lot more light pollution now than we ever did. We got, during the last G5 storm, I haven't went back and looked at the population of the Earth, but I would have to go back and look, but I would guess that we probably were down probably 1 billion people. We've probably gained 1 billion people since the last time we've seen a storm able to produce that kind of an effect. What's that mean? Well, when you get more people, you get more light pollution. That light pollution will prohibit you from seeing Aurora in some places at all. That's why you go out, in the country and get away from the city lights. But even when you do that, when you live around populated areas, most of the time it's not enough. It's just too much light. So, all these things they're arguing against each other. Now, at the end of the day, does it matter? I think it actually does this time, guys. I really do. I think it matters because this is absolutely one of those data points we need to be paying attention to, and we need to figure out why. We need to figure out why. Whatever that answer is, I don't have the answer for that. And I'm not going to get into arguments about that either because there's so many different people on so many different sides of this, talking this, talking that, talking this, talking that. I'm not going to do that. I'm telling you what we've seen. I'm showing you the data, and you guys are smart. Go for it, right? So that's what I'll say with the Aurora thing. But if we do get hit with the geomagnetic storm, guys, we most definitely will probably see Aurora, okay? So let me go back up here. I don't like streaming at this time, guys. I had no other chance to. Sorry. But anyway, okay, so we got, here is the NOAA forecast model. This is the end-little spiral, and what you're seeing here is it's trying to show you CME eruptions, coronal hole streams. It's not showing you much because it really hasn't updated. I do think that there were a few CMEs that we're probably going to have to be taking a look at. And we're going to go over here to seeds and show you that. And what this is, again, here's the Earth. There's SOHO. That's where the satellite's at. Okay? So it's always looking at the sun. It's just about 1 million miles closer to the sun than what we are. And it has an occulter disc on it. This black disc. It has to be there to block the light. If not, we don't get a picture at all. No imaging at all unless that's there. With that being said, it makes it very difficult sometimes when you get an eruption right in the middle of the sun, which is right in the middle of the Earth strike zone, which is right where we want to look to see if it's coming at us. But we can't look at that because that's there. At least not with this imaging. But there's other ways to figure that out. We look for what we call a halo signature. And that's just basically you see the CME energy poking out all the way around this occulter. Okay, if that happens, that either means it's coming right at us or it's going off the back. Okay? We used to have another satellite, Stereo A, which is now hanging out next to us. It's from our perspective now. But it actually used to be, let me show you, used to be way over here. Okay? From a side view. We don't get that view anymore, guys. We don't have a backside view of the sun. But we do have newer technology. And let me explain to you guys that technology. It's seismic activity on the sun. They're able to map out what they think the back of the sun looks like by using seismic readings on the sun. The sun's not a rock. It's a big old ball of plasma, right? Basically. We don't really know exactly what the core is made out of or anything like that. But it's more fluid than it is a rock. With that being said, what happens is the equator of the sun actually rotates faster than the polar areas. That would not be possible here on our planet. Okay, because we're a rock. So, yeah. So we'll leave that at that for another discussion. But with that being said, this is back on the 26th, right? Today's the 25th. This is 3 days ago. I believe that the eruption that we're trying to look at is on the 23rd. But I want to point something out here, though, too, that I think some people might be missing here. Okay? I've not seen anybody talk about this one. I'll show you. Right there. You guys see that? I know it's kind of hard to see, and maybe it's not strong enough to really give us a geomagnetic storm. I don't know. Did it go off the backside? I can't say 100% if it did or not. All I can show you is, hey, look, that's a halo signature. There's a chance some of that could be coming at us. That was on the 22nd. The one everybody's talking about that could be causing this geomagnetic storm tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow when they're forecasting it. Let me look. Let's see here. The 26th, so it would be on Sunday, right? Because we're in the 25th right now. So if I go back here and we're going to look, they're looking at the one that fired on the 23rd, right? So which one are they talking about? There was quite a few of them. So if you see that, then you got to try to figure it out. There is no clear halo signature, okay? But let me show you what I think is where that eruption is. It's going to happen right here. Okay, this is the same. It's from our point of view, but watch this one right here. Right about, see that one right there? Did you see that? So watch right here. I'm going to back it up. And I'm going to take it a few frames at a time here. See that? Now, you see what happened here? We see this a lot. There's absolutely no sunspot right there, by the way. Okay? So that's another thing I can tell you guys. We get flares, we get eruptions without sunspots. It just happens. Okay? You don't have to have a sunspot to have a CME or a flare. They can do it whenever it wants. So, anyway, and I know I sound a little grumpy. Again, guys, I do apologize. I am not feeling well, but that's not why I'm grumpy. Well, maybe a little bit of it. But I'm not going to that in a minute. But anyway, I'm sorry, guys. I am feeling pretty negative. I don't want to put that off on you guys. Anyway, as I go here, check this out. So if you look at the time frame, see that 654? That was at 640 UTC. So that's the eruption that they're saying is coming at us. Oops, wrong one. Sorry. This right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at it in a different angstrom. We'll take a look at it on the 304, okay? And it's ionized helium. And these are all parts of the light spectrum we cannot see with our eyes. But they put a filter on it, and they look at specific gases. The 304 just happens to be the one that shows ionized helium. And we get to see dark shadows really easy on this one. So we'll let this thing run here for a second. And what I'll do is I'll pause it. And we're going to run this back to that time frame. Okay. So if you guys remember my last live stream, I was talking about this filament, remember? Remember I said, hey, it looked like it was lifting off? It absolutely did. It lifted off. But that ain't what's going to hit us. Check this out. That's what they're talking about. Okay? So I'll back it up. It happens really quick. See that? Right there. That right there, in combination with this one, because this destabilizes, erupts out a little bit. It was not a massive eruption, but it was able to communicate with this sunspot over here and caused it to go ahead and erupt at the same time. Okay? That's what happened. That's what happened right there. Oops, wrong button. So you can see where that's erupting. Now I want to show you this too. Check out all the stuff that happens over here. And I'm showing you this for a reason, because this is what we got coming at us. All right? Right about there. You see that? I'm going to zoom in for that one. This one's actually pretty interesting. It's not something we've never seen before, but it actually is pretty visually, it gives us a pretty good visual here, just so you know. Well, daggone it ain't going to let me scroll over there, is it? Hold on. Let's back it up with the other one here. So right here, see that? Just check that out. That's something that, man, I hate it when this stupid computer does this. It's about to get dealt with. It's about to bend up out there in the middle of the street. So, watch this. It happens really fast. See that? Look at that. That's crazy to me. It blows pretty fast there, guys. I mean, my gosh, look at that. Wham! Right? So, that's rotating in. That's what's coming back around. That is a sunspot that we've already dealt with. It survived the backside. And it's still erupting. So that's what we got to look at. Now, we got all this other stuff happening too, right? On the sun. And it's one of those pet peeves of mine when people say, well, it's on the backside, we ain't got to worry about it. That's just such a line of BS, it's not even funny. It gives us clues to what's coming at us, number one. Number two, we get that 180 effect. What that means is if there's an eruption off the backside, a lot of times we'll see an eruption 180 degrees on the other side of the sun. So if it erupts on the backside, what's that mean? It increases the chances of us getting an eruption fired at us. So to ignore what's going on the backside of the sun is a mistake and irresponsible. I'll just say it. That's what it is. But did you guys see this? Check this out right here on the end. Look at this thing. Now, luckily, that is not in the Earth strike zone. Now, I say that, in a way, I'm kind of chuckling. I'm not saying that that's a massive eruption. It's just visual, okay? It's visual because the sun's not the background. We get a contrasting color because it's using space, the blackness of space, as the background because it's on the limb here. If that eruption happens right here, we don't see this looking like this. It looks totally different. Sometimes those can be hard to see. Okay, so you got that one. That most definitely erupted out. And I'm going to run this kind of fast, but I want you guys to watch these filaments just waving around down here. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to run it through a couple times. Let you guys see this. Okay? I mean, just look at that. Looks like a twinkling Christmas tree, man. So, yeah. So they're talking about that one there. That's the one they're saying is going to give us the geoelectric or geomagnetic storm, possibly. It's not going to be like a massive one. Okay, they're talking G1, maybe G2, who knows. Again, all the conditions we talk about matter, and that's why we talk about it. So the biggest thing that we need to understand, this is our geoelectric field model again, guys. I'm just running this so you guys can see what's going on right now. Okay, this is a geoelectric field at the surface. Like I said before, they measure that in volts per kilometer. Okay, you can see the intensity scale here. That's in microvolts per kilometer. So what that means, millivolts, I'm sorry, microvolts. So you guys can do the math there. And so, yeah, just so you know, that's how they measure this. And it is important to understand because what we see, 10 volts during our G5 storm, and the one that knocked the power out up here in Canada back in '89 was only 22 volts per kilometer. Okay? And I say only. That's a lot, by the way. Okay? And this is another way for me to tell you guys, it helps explain when I say energy in means energy out every single time. It does not happen any other way. Energy in means energy out at some point in time. Now, how that energy comes out is where the discussion is. Okay? It could come out with seismic activity. It could come out in other ways. Most likely seismic activity. And seismic activity just isn't earthquakes, guys. We're talking volcanoes, geysers, even just like fissures that open up underneath the ocean that nobody even talks about. That's relieving pressure. That's letting that energy out. So when those things don't get talked about, people are sitting there thinking, well, that geomagnetic storm didn't do nothing. Well, it most certainly did. I mean, and that's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, that's one of the things that people don't see. And I'm guilty of not talking about stuff like that myself. Because we lose attention with people when we're talking about, oh yeah, we had some steam geyser open up, or a fissure open up underneath the ocean that nobody ever seen. We didn't see any reports on it. No newspaper reported on it, so it ain't very exciting. Thus, isn't very entertaining. So nobody wants to see it. Right? Ain't that how this world works? And I'm guilty of not at least pointing that out myself. Because that is one thing we can look at. Any kind of seismic release at all is helping release that energy. And if we get it in a way that is slow and meticulous like that, that's beneficial to us. Because if you see us get hit with something big, and we don't see those slow little things happening, you better pay attention. Because what's happening is it's building up and it will release all at once. And when that happens, that's when we're talking about big time earthquakes, volcanoes, all the stuff that's really, really bad. Okay? So the little stuff is what we want to see. A continuous little stuff. That's one of the things they look at in geology. I'm telling you guys, they will look at, like, they'll look at an area, and then if it's not releasing like they think it needs to be, they will absolutely issue watches and warnings for that area. Because of that. They know it has to come out, and it's going to come out. So that's why. All right. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, now, I want to show you this real quick, too, so hang in there with me just for a second here. I don't want to... What the heck is going on with that? What the... I'm going to change the view of my thing here? What's going on? Anyway, hold on. Give me 1 second. My gosh, man. Where'd that go? Sorry, I'm talking to myself. There they are. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong folder. I apologize. Let me get over here to my... And I know, yes, this is a boring graph, but I want to show it to you, okay? This is the space weather conditions right now, okay? We look for the BZ, right? -6. Just remember that. If it's -6, that means we're in a magnetic positioning that we will accept space weather, CMEs, a lot easier, gets in a lot easier, guys, okay? If it's in a positive, that means it's going to actually help deflect. So right now, it hangs around neutral usually between 0 and +5 and -5. That's usually where it kind of bounces around. Now, just because we get to -6 doesn't mean we get geomagnetic storms, okay? It just means we're in that magnetic positioning that we could if we get hit with something. So, now, when we talk about the phi angle, we're talking about the actual magnetic polarity of the solar wind itself. Okay? The magnetic field's inside the solar wind. It has a polarity. So, when it flips, it's called the phi angle, right? The phi angle flips. When that happens, sometimes it can jerk on our magnetic field because we're connected to the sun, right? So if it jerks on our magnetic field like that hard enough, it can absolutely put us into low-level geomagnetic storming. Okay? It does that. If that happens at the same time as we're getting hit with other things, it intensifies things. Now, as you get to density here, this is density as far as the amount of particles that are hanging around. 4 is what we consider normal. We don't usually typically sweat this very much because I've seen us get to 30 or 40 and take a hit with that and not even get into storm level at all because the speed was either so slow or the BZ was in such a positive orientation, it just deflected everything. Okay? So we got to have all these conditions lining up all at the same time. Just saying. Now, the speed, 300 to 500 kilometers per second, is what we consider normal. Right now, we're just dead middle, right there in the middle. Nothing much going on. But I wanted to show that to you because this is going to change if we get hit with something. That's why I'm showing it to you. Now we have a reference point, and I could show you, I could go back further and show you when stuff happens anyway. But I want you guys to have that in your mind for when, if we do get hit. That way I can show you and you have a better understanding. Okay, now, I'm going to talk about something here that I don't want to talk about. I don't. I won't talk about this at all. I've talked about this probably 10 times. And each and every time I say I talk about it, I say I'm not going to talk about this again. I don't want to talk about this again. But I started getting emails. Oh my God. Like 4 or 5 of them, like within 10 minutes. And I still don't know where this is coming from. And usually it's because somebody's made a video and they're talking about this, that, and the third. But they were, let me show you this first. I'll tell you what we'll do. The best way for me to show you this is probably to just do this. Let's go over here to SDO. We are at SDO, Mark. My gosh. Now, typically when I'm talking about this, people are talking about the moon. This time, they're talking about the sun. And I'll explain here in a second. So let me go over here to, let's just go to the, yeah, we'll use the colorized magnetogram. Well, you know what? I don't want to do that because I want to be able to have a pinpointed, let's do this. Let's do the gray, yeah, this one here. Okay, so what are we looking at here, right? We're looking at sunspots, right? So I start getting emails and they're asking me, how come these sunspots are rotating? Like they're spinning, like looking at the sun? They're not, guys. They're not. They're just not. And I know when you look at this, you can't see it spinning. But if you, let me explain this to you too. Okay? This usually gets talked about with the moon. And what it is it's called field rotation, parallaxic angle. I'm not going to go into all that because I don't want to, I'm not arguing with people. I don't want any drama or anything like that. I'm pointing this out for one reason. Because they're bringing the sun into the subject. Anything that you look at out in space from Earth is from your perspective, correct? With that being said, things that are in space from your perspective are going to move and act the same way from your perspective. Whether it's the moon, the sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, any of that, okay? So, what I'm saying is, what they're talking about is, they're saying that the sunspots are moving all around, right? All over the sun. Well, that's not what's happening, guys. It's just not. It's field rotation. You know how I can tell you that? What they're doing here, why you don't see these sunspots start like in a vertical motion and kind of rotate through? Is because they're using an equatorial mount. Okay? Anybody that does astrophotography knows what an equatorial mount is. And I'm not going to go into detail what that is because I don't have the desire. I'm not here to argue with people. I'm only bringing it up because, like I said, people are asking, why are the sunspots moving all around the sun? They're not. They're not. They're moving the same. But from our perspective, because of that effect that we see, because our Earth is tilted, okay, at 23.4, 23.3 or something degrees. And when we rotate, it matters where you're standing at on our planet. The angle changes. If I'm standing on the North Pole and I'm looking at the moon, or let's just pick out another one close to us. Let's go. I'm looking at Mercury, right? And then if I can magically snap my fingers at the exact same time and teleport to the equator, Mercury would look different to me. It would look exactly the same, but it would look as though it had rolled one direction or the other. And if you guys want to know more about that, I highly suggest you look up parallactic angle. Okay, not the parallax effect, parallactic angle, and field rotation. That's going to explain that. That is the reason why they use equatorial mounts. What's an equatorial mount do? It actually, if you enter your latitude or your location where you're at on this planet, time and day, okay, you enter that in, it will move your camera or your telescope the proper amount to keep that image right there vertical like that for you. So you don't have to worry about long exposures. That's why we see star trails. Okay, long exposures, if you use an equatorial mount, you won't have to do any of that. Everything will stay looking like that, in focus. You won't get any blur. That's the reason. Okay? So I just want to say that. And again, I know that there's people out there that don't think that that's the case, and I am not mad at you. I promise. You're so welcome to have that opinion. I don't get upset over that at all. You know, the discussion's been had a bunch, and I just simply don't want to talk about it anymore because I've talked about it so much. I feel like I repeat myself the same thing over and over and over again. And I think that, you know, again, it's okay for people to disagree. But I just want to tell you, from my opinion, and the only reason, again, why I'm bringing this up is because I got emails. And it surprised me that it wasn't the moon, it was the sun. They asked me about sunspots, you know, moving all around the sun. And they're not. They're not any place that they shouldn't be. That's all I'm saying. And again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think I am on this one, guys. There's always a chance I am. Always. And I'm open to anything. Always have been. But somebody's going to have to explain to me in some great detail. And I think what people, some of the mistakes that people make is they'll take this picture of the sun right here, and then they'll wait, I don't know, a few hours and take another picture. And that's when you're going to see a great distance of them moving, because you're not getting any imaging in between there. If you were to run a movie on it, like take I don't know, some long exposure, don't use an equatorial mount, and take some long exposure of the sun like this, those sunspots are the same sunspots. They just, from your point of view, they look like they're rotating. The sun's not moving like that. You are. You're on the earth rotating. Parallactic angle. Look that up. Okay? It's not the same thing as parallax. It's not the parallax effect. The parallax effect is when you look at a sphere, the things on the side of a sphere are going to look smaller, and as they get closer to the middle, they're going to appear to grow. But they don't. It's a visual anomaly. When you're looking at a sphere, a three-dimensional ball, and we see it all the time on these imagers. They look as if they're growing, and they're really not, unless they are. Sometimes they do grow, obviously, and this really isn't the best way to show people that by using sunspots, because they do fluctuate in size. But if you can prove that part to yourself by giving somebody give your kid a golf ball, put a big black mark on it, and tell him to go across the room, and you look at it when it's on the side and have him rotate it towards the middle. That the size of that that mark didn't change, but it will look to you as if it got bigger when it was in the middle. Okay? That's the parallax effect. Now, parallactic angle is not the same thing. They've been using parallactic angle and field rotation equations since before JPL and NASA was even around. Okay? So just know that, first and foremost. This isn't something new. If you know how to do the math, you can figure that out. So, that's just what I'll say, guys. And again, I don't want to like beat this to death, because that's not why I'm here doing this. Again, the only reason why I'm addressing this thing here on the end is because I got emails. Let me look. I got 7 emails on that. And sometimes I don't even get 7 emails a day altogether. It was crazy to me. It's the only reason why I'm addressing it, because people ask me about it. So, in my opinion, if you do this, if you go out here and you do it yourself, you can prove this to yourself in your backyard. You don't have to use a satellite. You don't have to use nothing. You know what you can do? We just had this solar eclipse, right? Listen to what I'm saying. Go out there, grab your phone, and take a picture of the sun through those glasses at, let's just say, 10 o'clock in the morning. Go out again and do it at noon, and then do it again at 2, and then do it again at 4 every 2 hours. You know what you're going to see? You're going to see a clear roll of those sunspots moving. The sunspots aren't moving on the sun. They're only moving from your perspective because you're moving. We're rotating around our axis, guys, and it changes our angle of what we're looking at. And it would be different for everybody on the planet depending on what latitude line you're standing on. So that's in my opinion, that's what I have come to understand and what I think is going on. So anyway, my opinion, that's all it is. Take it or leave it. And and again, I don't even know why that even came up. I have not seen anybody even talking about that. So I don't even know where it came from. Nobody gave me links or nothing to go look. I don't. But anyway, we'll just leave that alone. And I really don't want to see it, so don't send it to me. I don't want to know. I don't. I really don't, because that's not my motivation behind this is to let you guys know what I think is going on. My motivation isn't to say, hey, what they said is wrong, and what this person said is wrong, and that's wrong, and that's wrong. No, I don't care about that. I don't care who's wrong. I don't. I just want to know what, I want you guys to understand what I think is going on, and you can make your own decision. So, anyway, we're going to leave it at that. What do you mean, Jeremy? What's up? I'm just now looking at the chat there. Yeah, Jeremy, everything is constantly changing position. It is. 100%. You're right. 100%. Not everybody knows the variables. That's why I'm sharing them with you. And that's why I said, please send me the emails when you guys get that. When you guys get those questions, please send them to me. It's just I usually when if I got one like that, I wouldn't be talking about it. But I got like 7 of them. And what that means to me is somebody probably either made a video or it was being talked about somewhere. That's the only reason why I bring that up. What'd you say there? Yeah, you're right. Ignorance is just a lack of knowledge. Yeah, no, I don't think anybody is at fault here. I welcome those questions. So if I came across like I'm not welcoming those questions, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant to happen. What I meant to happen is that I want you guys to understand that that's my opinion. That's all it is. And I welcome you guys to ask me those things. I answer those questions behind the scenes 99% of the time. I usually don't bring them here because I talked about them a lot. A few years back, we were talking about it all the time. And it got to the point where it was just mundane and it was just like beating a dead horse. And that's why. But yeah. So you're off the chain, man. Oh yeah, the coronal hole, guys, on the North Pole of the sun, it's not doing anything right now. It's already rotated pretty much away. I don't think we got any kind of solar storm from that. We had a chance, and it just didn't get there. It got to like a 4 on the KP. So, yeah, Jeremy, I just I really do want people to email me and ask me those questions. Because, and the reason why is so they know my point of view. And I guess what I'm saying is, if I was to come out and talk about that like constantly, all the time, over and over and over again, people would probably get bored with that. And that's why I try not to do that. But I haven't talked about this particular subject in quite some time. So I really didn't have much of a problem with it. But again, if it's just one or two people email me, that's one thing. But when I get 7 or 8 of them, it's hard for me to think that that's just random. I don't know. Hey, see here, think. Hey, did you hear your name got called? You need to email me if you haven't. You want a deck of cards, by the way. Woo-hoo! Who's mic dropping, brother? Who's mic dropping, BK? You mic dropping? What you got going on there, man? BK, you killed me, brother. Hope you're well, man. I really do. Axe and Nacho, baby. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, Axe. I really appreciate you, man. Or Nacho, whoever that is. Both of you. Man, your kids have to be growing up, man. I know my daughter's going to be a senior next year, and it blows my mind. But yeah, you want some Sunspot bicycle cards. Yeah, Vicky. But the thing is, it matters a little bit. And Vicky says that. Thanks for explaining that, but she don't care if they're spinning or not. It matters because when we look at it helps us explain other phenomenon. Because if we know why it appears to spin, but they're really not, it's a visual thing because we're moving. It's from our perspective. So if I was to kind of like disregard that and like then look at something else out in space and not have that understanding, it would change how I looked at that one too. It's a foundational thing. And that's just how I look at it. But I get it. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like CMEs and stuff, yeah, I mean, we want to know where that's blowing off at, right? I mean, I get that 100%. Got a job? No way, man. Whoa. BK, you're awesome. Yeah, Axe, that's something else, man. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe when we get a little older, we can get a discount when we have to buy our first walker. How about that? A group price on walkers. Anybody in with me? Come on. Let's all go buy some stock in this walker business over here, and then we'll all get us a discount. and Axe can play some music for us while we're doing it. You guys need to get up there and check out his channel. You really should. I love it. His channel is awesome. It's funny. They do great music. The graphics and stuff that they pull in, it's really cool. Especially if you're like Axe and Nacho, they do stuff spanning multiple decades. They really do. You can sit there and say, well, they're talking about the 80s tonight. Well, yeah, he can play 80s music. He can play 70s music. He can play all music. And they bring in like that genre and look to their live streams. They do shorts that are hysterical. So go check them out. Axe and Nacho, for sure. Yeah, 60K. Ain't that awesome, Justina? That's awesome. It's all up to you guys, man. You guys are awesome. All you guys are. And Vicky, yeah. Yeah, you're right, Vicky. Yeah, and again, I guess, here's the thing on that too. Unless people ask the question, I don't know that you guys have a question. And that's why I want you guys to ask me the questions. Put an engine on it. There you go. Hey, man, when I had to quit working at the factory, I worked out there for 20 years. And it was something else. Man, I tell you, it was hard to leave there. It was so much my life and so much who I was. I worked on $1 million printing equipment for people that don't know. Every 8-ounce Kool-aid bowl that you ate at Thanksgiving time on your pumpkin pies passed right through my factory for over 20 years. And we made Dannon yogurt and stuff like that. I put the print on them, right? I worked on the machines that did it. It was a technology called cured on mandrel. They were called COM printers. And if you could picture the inside of a bowl, like say you filled up the inside of a bowl with metal and it was hardened, that's a mandrel. And you put them on a ring and they rotate, right? And these bowls, after they're injected, they land on those. They get shot on there by air pressure. And then they go through the printing process, which takes, let's say 4 seconds, 5 seconds, maybe, if you're lucky. Well, let's just say this. I was running printers that were doing 600 parts a minute. Okay? So, if you can do that, if you guys can figure that stuff out, yeah. And what's amazing about that technology is, you put ink on these bowls, right? So we had, this is actually really what got me interested in talking about ultraviolet with the sun and stuff, because we used UV bulbs to dry the ink. And it would dry it so quickly that you could pick it up out of the back of the machine and it was dry. When it came out the back of the machine within just a fraction of 2 or 3 seconds, it was dry. It's amazing. The technology is crazy how it works. And that's also why I understand light. Because you can create any color out there if you use what's called process printing. True process printing. You got cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. If you've got those 4 colors, you can make anything you want. It's amazing. It's the same kind of, it's the same thing of like an old tube style TV with the dots. When you look at your TV, you're looking at dots, guys. It's a series of dots close together is what it is. So, yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 3663 is returning in, BK. Yeah, pay attention to that, guys. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, you're right, miss. It's the same kind of technology. She says she uses it to cure nail polish. There's a definite correlation there, miss. 100%. You're looking at nail polish. I was doing ink. So we're talking about, and paint needs to dry also, which actually can be cured with UV, right? So a lot of things get cured with UV. Now, when we were going through the COVID-19, I'll just say it like that. I'm not going to say those words because it'll kill the whatever. The algorithm doesn't like it. When we were going through that, did you guys know that they could use UV wands to kill that virus by waving it over like clothing? That's what they did when they got clothes returned. They had to wave these UV lights over them to make sure that wasn't going to happen. But yeah. The UV bulbs that we had in our printers, probably the least expensive one was $500. My body just couldn't do it anymore, Stephanie. Yeah, I'm fused 6 vertebrae in my neck, so yeah, we'll just leave that at that. It's just yeah, but it is what it is. So. I am going to go ahead and end it, guys. This actually lasted way longer than I thought it was going to. What are we at? An hour? Okay. I didn't think it was going to last this long. But, okay, guys. Hey, listen, thanks for coming up. I know it's a later show, but I will be trying to give you guys an update tomorrow. If anything happens, I'll definitely be here. I always am, no matter what. Even if I got to pop on my phone and give you an uploaded video. If something big happens, I'll be here. Okay, guys? Other than that, you'll get my regular stuff, and that's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing a members-only stream, probably Tuesday, because Monday is a holiday. And thanks to, the veterans out there, I'll be saying that a lot this weekend. But I truly do appreciate you guys. And, those who have paid the ultimate price, thank you. If you can hear me anywhere you're at. And the families of those people, thank you. So, alright, guys. Hello! Lamb is the light. Love the name. Love the name. Aloha, Kete! Guys, get up there north of the border. Check out Axe Nacho's channel. You can drop your link in there, brother. Anytime you want. Alright, guys. God bless. Yahucha saves, and, yeah. You can drink this Kool-Aid.